It's the emergency broadcast, episode 15. It's Thursday night.
Happy to be here.
I've got a headline for you. College football is great, but college football is weird, right?
Definitely.
That happens with things that have been around a long time. Things get pretty weird.
Let's talk about college rivalries to start off with. The most recent example of, college rivalries that went too far was the Auburn oak trees getting poisoned by an Alabama fan.
In Auburn, there are some oak trees on the corner of Magnolia Avenue and College Street, and after every win, they get toilet papered.
And that is the tradition until 2013, when that tradition came to an abrupt end, when Harvey Updike decided to poison the trees.
Okay, well, let me tell you what I did. The weekend after the Iron Bowl, I went to Auburn, Alabama, because I live 30 miles away, and I poisoned the two tumors trees.
Is that against the law to poison a tree?
Well, do you think I care?
No.
And to this day has only paid $8,000 of the $800,000 he owes.
Really?
Yeah. They take him to court. Terrible decision by Mr. Updike.
Terrible decision. Just toilet paper them. Don't poison them.
No.
And then they got burnt down in 2016 and they got replaced. Someone set fire to them after Auburn beat LSU. I mean, come on. Toomer's Corner gets toilet papered after every win, and then it gets poisoned, and then it gets burnt down. We told you it got serious at college football, and we told you it was weird. Strap in. They play for some weird stuff in college football. I mean, they've been around for decades, and so they just find whatever tat they have knocking around, and then they say, okay, let's play for this, let's play for that. So
Give us some examples.
A long list, which I'll rattle off, of bizarre nouns that these teams play for. Michigan and Minnesota play for a little brown jug. Cincinnati Bearcats and Miami in Ohio play for Victory Bell.
Miami in Ohio.
Ben Roethlisberger went there.
Amazing.
Yeah, he went to Miami University in Ohio.
That's great. That's
Imagine getting into Miami and then being like, oh, it's in Ohio.
Yeah, that's kind of like going to Oxford Brookes.
Akron and Kent State play for the Wagon Wheel.
I just had an image of them playing for that small...
The chocolate.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
LSU and Tulane play for a rag. Fresno State and San Diego State play for an oil can. East Carolina and NC State play for a Victory barrel. Just a wooden barrel. That's it. They just found that in the shed and they were like, let's play for this. Sod it. Maine and New Hampshire play for a musket.
These things were probably worth more when like 400 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. But all these things are like old as hell, apart from, and I'll get to it, the battle for the remnants of a $5 wooden chair. I told you college football was weird. It's brilliant, but it's weird. Northwestern State and Stephen F. Austin, yes, that's a college. I've done my research. They play for a 7'6", 360-pound statue of Chief Caddo. Who's that? No idea. Why is it important? Don't know. But 7'6".
That's hard to lift over your head after the win there.
Exactly. Imagine putting that on the team bus.
Crushes the entire 53-man roster.
Valdosta State and West Georgia play for a peach basket, and then some other stuff colleges play for is the Conestoga Wagon. They play for a saddle. They play for a paddle. They play for a WWE belt. That was a fairly new one.
I thought you were going to rhyme that.
Battle for a golden horseshoe. LSU and Arkansas play for a golden boot. Illinois and Ohio State have the battle for the Illibuck. A wooden turtle that replaced a live turtle 100 years ago. They used to play for a live turtle. So if Ohio State won, they'd have to take this little turtle back to Ohio, look after it for a year, feed it, water it, look after a turtle, all the things you legally have to do, and then bring it back and play for it again. And then, animal rights activists said, we have to play for a wooden turtle. We can't just bandy about a turtle as like currency for bragging rights. Indiana and Michigan State play for the old brass spittoon, full of spit. The spit is the best part.
That's probably not being allowed during COVID.
Boise State and Fresno State play for the milk can. Because I feel like teams like Michigan and Ohio State and LSU and Clemson, they steal the headlines. So Boise State and Fresno State, they've got to have something. So they've got an old milk can. But I tell you what, I'll throw this in now because this is my favorite thing that I stumbled across on the internet this week. The $5 bits of broken chair trophy. Nebraska versus Minnesota. As I was saying, Miami, FSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Michigan, they steal the headlines. And so Nebraska and Minnesota, they decided, we want a rivalry. Why don't we have a rivalry? Nebraska Huskers, Minnesota Golden Gophers. We're pretty big. And so on Twitter, the Golden Gophers mascot sent a tweet to Faux Pelini, who's a parody account of Coach Bo at Nebraska, and said, hey, how about we put $5 on the game? And Faux Pelini said, how about if we win, I get to smash a chair over your head? To which the Golden Gopher replied, that's fine, but if we win, I get to smash it over your head, and then we'll turn the bits of it into a trophy that we play for every year. It was a huge thing the first year it happened because it got picked up by the university. They paraded it around the stadium before the game, and then the trophy was lost. Drama. drama in the $5 broken chair trophy game. And then it was resurrected in 2017 when 2 guys on Reddit said, hey, what happened to that brilliant piece of history, the broken chair trophy that we had for 2 years? Let's make another one. They got a guy to make up another. There's an actual trophy with a golden chair with 2 $5 bills slapped on the bottom. But now attached to it is a charity raffle. That's right, I'll say that again. A charity raffle. 2 charities selected by both universities get money raised for them, and we get the stupid name, the charity raffle, and a broken chair trophy. I think that's just absolutely brilliant.
You want a story?
Yeah, go on.
I've got some pranks for you. In 1895,
Rolling about the years.
Auburn, right?
Yep.
We're playing Georgia Tech, and this is before coaches, so this is you getting a train. So in the middle of the night, a load of Auburn cadets go get some soap, get some grease, and by the cover of moonlight, grease 400 yards of rails out of the station. The train slides 5 miles past the town, and the entire football team have to walk back with all their shit just in time for kickoff.
5 miles? That's so dangerous. It blew through 8 other stations.
To be the driver is just like, well, it's a pretty uneventful journey there.
Yeah.
Just pulling into the station. Nope. And we're in North Carolina. Aggies versus Longhorns. Longhorns actually at one time did have a steer that was named Bevo.
They still do.
They didn't have this one because this was in 1917.
Okay, yeah, no, he is dead.
And he got eaten in 1920. The Aggies actually branded the cow 13-0 in the dead of night one time because once A&M beat...
Like,
yeah.
Brilliant.
And then when the cow actually got fattened up and eaten, they stripped off the branded bit and presented it to the Aggies.
Colorado Buffaloes, they've got a buffalo called Ralphie, right? A whole buffalo, which always leads the team out alongside 5 wranglers so that it doesn't trample the entire team.
I've just got images of those, you know, when bullfighting goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The kicker just gets like nailed in the face.
When LSU had a live tiger as a mascot called Mike.
That's what?
500-pound Bengal tiger.
That's the stupidest. When was this, like 1845?
1950.
When the circus rolled into town.
Literally got it from a circus.
Oh, for goodness sake.
So they got it from a circus. They made it the mascot. It was 1950, and then this guy and a couple of his buddies the night before the LSU Tulane game, I think, find the tiger in a cage on the back of a semi parked in a gas station, hook the semi up to their truck, drive it back to their own house, put the tiger in the garage, and then the guy's dad said, yeah, I woke up to sounds of all the dogs barking.
Because there's a full tiger in the garage.
Because it was the opening scene from The Hangover.
Bill, there is a tiger in the bathroom!
There's a history of kidnapping animals as well because the Gators had live animals, had live gators as their mascots. Again, I think in 1957 was the first time they had a live alligator. It was called Albert, and Albert 2 was the second one after Albert, the first one, got beaten to death.
How do you beat an alligator to death? What? That's question number 1. How are you beating an alligator to death? Question number 2, are they just like sort of loping onto the pitch? Because in my head, it's like the Roman Colosseum where they flooded the entire thing to do like the Battle of Trafalgar.
And then trapdoors popped
Yeah, exactly.
up. The alligators run out. Yeah.
That is the biggest freaking alligator I have ever seen in my life.
Like some of the names of the bowl games, you've got Civil War, obviously. One of my favourites, the Florida Classic. Who's that between?
One would think Florida State and University of Florida.
Wrong. It's between Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M. An absolute vintage classic. And the Gators and FSU game is called the Sunshine Showdown. 3rd Saturday in October, Alabama versus Tennessee.
That's actually quite cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Middle Tennessee versus Western Kentucky. 100 miles of hate.
Wow.
That's the name of the game.
That sounds like a really good emo album.
Yeah, it does.
Let's go back to 1961.
Yeah, 1961.
To South Carolina Gamecocks against Clemson. A couple of the fans, I think exactly the same number of the team, dressed in fake Clemson outfits, dressed as the coach, put a pillow under their thing to make him look fat, and then ran out instead of the team at the beginning. The whole crowd thought it was the actual team, and then they started playing really badly during warm-ups, drinking absinthe, kickers were kicking the balls over their heads.
Who are those guys?
We talked about poisoning earlier. There's a big tradition of doing things to grass and turf. Notably, MSU once used fertilizer to burn an S into Michigan Wolverine Stadium, into the big house. Virginia Tech put a T at the end of UVA's logo on their pitch. But even better than that, Virginia Tech alumni was working at an architecture firm in Richmond, Virginia, when he was asked to design a new building for the University of Virginia's campus. Not only did he win the commission on the building, But the building sat at the end of the pitch, and it was the VT logo.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
If we're talking about weird design features, I've got a couple. At Iowa, 1979, the head coach, Hayden Fry, decided, I'm going to paint the away locker room exclusively pink. At Cal, you've got Tightwad Corner.
Lisa Salters has made her way up Tightwad Hill, and she's up there, on above now. That's where they allow the folks to come on in. And Lisa, how is it up there?
Well, Brent, I got to tell you, I was a little skeptical about coming up here, but the view is absolutely outstanding.
And it's for people who don't want to buy a ticket to the game. And so when they did a refurb of the stadium, they were like, that's such an integral part of our ground, we're going to build around it.
Can I just say quickly about Cal? Apparently once a Cal fan hacked into the PA system at Stanford and penalised the team 5 yards for excessive arrogance.
If we're on Stanford, just the Stanford mascot is a tree. What? Notre Dame, touchdown Jesus.
Okay,
There's a
what's that?
huge mural of Jesus by the stadium. He has his arms raised, which looks like he's signaling a touchdown.
1982, MIT pranking the Harvard-Yale game.
Suddenly it happened. A balloon with MIT written all over it popped out of the turf at the 46-yard line and grew and grew and grew. The questions of why, who, and how, all answered here tonight at Delta Kappa Epsilon at MIT.
Under the cover of darkness, buried a huge black balloon with MIT written on it in the middle of the field, filled it with Freon, hacked into the electrical wiring system, and then halfway through the game, ignited it, and this huge balloon blew up out of the field, and then was shot by police.
That is the cleverest prank. Of course, that was MIT.
Yeah. This, in my opinion, is the best prank that there ever has been, right? So in 2004, these guys from Yale pranked Harvard by infiltrating the stadium and putting out, you know, those like pieces of paper, placards that you hold up to say like "Go Team" or whatever.
Yeah. This is for you, Yale. We love you, Yale.
We're here to cheer for Harvard. Let's go, Harvard!
Pass them down. We're nice.
You see that? Look at them, they passed the rover now. It's gonna happen. It's actually gonna happen. I can't believe this. All right, we can do it now. You suck! You suck! You suck! You suck! You suck! You did it!
It's so much better than clubbing an alligator to death. That shows the type of people going to these universities. MIT and Yale are hacking into the wiring system to make a balloon sprout out of the pitch, and people from Florida just clubbing alligators to death.
I mean, bands play an important part as well in rivalries.
Yep.
1983, the OSU versus Oklahoma game. It was called The Day the Pride Won. Cowboys were beating OSU 20-3, and the band director just said, just keep playing Boomer Sooner. Don't stop for an hour. And Oklahoma ended up winning the game 20-20.
Really? Because the Ohio State band is obviously the band in America. It's a huge deal. And there's a tradition, an honor of dotting the I in Ohio.
Oh, really?
It's the salsaphone player. It's reserved for a fourth-year
Salsaphone?
salsa.
What is that?
No idea. I think it's one of those sort of big horns that wraps around you. Sort of go. Is that everything?
From what I've seen...
Because I've got a great way to play us out.
Oh, have you got a salsaphone?
Yeah.
Dotting the I.
Dotting the I. I've waited 4 years for this. Michigan and Ohio State, who have a rivalry and do nothing but fight. Every single year they fight. Ladies and gentlemen, emergency broadcast 15, wrap it up. Michigan and Ohio State. Let's get ready to rumble!